Okay, so as a leader, you want to build products on bedrock, not sand, right? We're going to dive into a framework that helps you do just that. It's a technique that uncovers what your customers actually do, not just what they say they'll do. And trust me, it can save you from some really costly mistakes.
So let's start with a question that probably keeps a lot of product leaders up at night. You know the feeling? You do all the research, you collect all the data, you build exactly what customers ask for, and then you launch, and it's just cricket. It can feel like they straight up lied to you. But the truth, well, that's a little more complicated.
And here's the twist. They're not lying, but you're kind of asking them to. See, the problem isn't about deception. It's about the questions we're asking. When we ask customers to predict their own future behavior, we're asking them for speculation. We're asking for a good story. We are, without even realizing it, asking for fiction instead of facts.
Let's really see how this plays out with a classic tale of two teams. It's a story all about a really common and really expensive mistake, building products for who our customers wish they were instead of who they actually are.
All right, so team number one, they had this great idea for a new fitness app. And they did what seemed totally logical, right? They went out to validate their idea by asking potential users some pretty direct questions.
And this is the classic trap, isn't it? It's a hypothetical question about a future action. It's asking people to imagine a better version of themselves. You know, the super disciplined, totally motivated person who just needs a little electronic nudge.
And of course, what do you think they heard? A resounding, enthusiastic yes from pretty much everyone. I mean, who wouldn't say yes to that? It aligns perfectly with the person we all want to be. So boom, the team got the validation they wanted and they moved ahead full of confidence.
So they spent the next 6 months building this beautiful, slick app. They had a big launch and then nothing, a total flop. People would download it, maybe use it for a couple of days, and then pretty soon those notifications just became annoying background noise.
And this is the absolute key takeaway here. They had built a fantastic product for a person who didn't actually exist in the real world. They built it for the person their customers aspired to be, not the real person who has to deal with last-minute deadlines and kids getting sick and just life.
Okay, so that's the problem. It's a big one. But the good news is there's a solution, and it comes from a simple shift in how we ask questions. This is where we stop asking for predictions and we start asking for stories.
The core idea here is to stop asking people to be fortune tellers about their own futures and instead just ask them to be reporters about their past. Turns out we are terrible, terrible predictors, but we are fantastic storytellers of our own actual experiences.
And if you want to get a little nerdy about the why behind this, it's all about how our brains are wired. See, those direct questions, the would you questions, they trigger our storytelling brain, which is great at creating a narrative that makes sense, but it's often, fictional. Story-based questions, on the other hand, access our episodic memory, our recall of specific real events, and that gives you reliable behavioral data. Gold.
This right here, this is the perfect illustration of the difference. Asking, what do you want, is basically asking your customer to be a product designer. But asking, tell me about the last time you bought one, well, that question unlocks a story. And that story is going to be rich with real-world context, frustrations, workarounds, and the true needs.
Okay, so let's rewind and go back to our fitness app story. Now let's look at team number two. They were trying to solve the exact same problem, but they used this story-based approach. And notice how different their question is. It's not about the future at all. It's just a simple prompt to recall a specific thing that happened in the past.
And what they heard back was completely different. They didn't get a single person saying, "Oh, I wish I had an app that sent me reminders." No. Instead, they heard stories. Stories about the real-world chaos and motivations that direct questions could never, ever uncover. The true reasons people did or did not exercise.
And that's when they had the big aha moment. The real problem to solve wasn't a lack of desire to work out. It was a lack of a plan for when reality, inevitably smacks you in the face. They weren't fighting apathy. They were fighting complexity.
So, what did they build? They built an obstacle killer, an app that helped people identify their own personal derailers and then make simple if-then plans to get around them. And by solving the real problem they found in the stories, their product resonated like crazy, and it just won the market. All right, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But as leaders, the real question is always, how do I actually get my team to do this? How do you move from just understanding this concept to actually executing on it day in and day out? Well, here it is, your simple 3-step playbook to shift your team's entire discovery process. First, just ban the bad questions. Make would you and do you usually forbidden phrases. Second, train your team to dig deeper, to become excavators of the real story by constantly asking and what happened next. And third, get them to shift their listening from just collecting feature ideas to really identifying those underlying needs and pain points.
And to bring this all home and make it super, super practical, here is the one thing you can do literally this Monday morning in your next team meeting to start getting the ball rolling.
The next time your team comes to you with their research findings, just ask them this one simple question. This single question, it's going to change the whole conversation. It forces your team to really reflect on the quality of their data, and it challenges the entire organization to move from building on the shaky sand of speculation to building on the solid bedrock of real, lived customer experiences.